Hey guys, good morning. It is Thursday, January 22nd, 2026, and I'm out here in Pine Mountain, Georgia, riding the Manowar Trail. It used to be a railroad. I'm riding this guy today, my folding e-bike. A few updates on the bike. I made some adjustments to it, considering that it has almost 500 miles. So my last two videos, you saw my chain pop in one was when, this truck down. One was when I was crossing the bridge over the interstate up at home. Chain was pretty loose, so I tightened it, and then popped yet again last time I rode in Columbus when I had outrun a dog that was chasing me. That was fun. So I had to make a few adjustments here, so I had to take a wrench. I had to move the axle back a little bit to tighten the chain up because it was kind of loose. And then I had to fiddle around the brake since it was scrubbing, and I finally got it to work, so all is good there. And even on this type of bike, you still have to do some adjustments, because especially with the chain, you know how that works. And then I also swapped out my bell. So this little guy, it's a little beach cruiser bell ordered off Amazon. It's about 15 bucks. All right, let's get rolling. Chances are I'm probably going to hit 500 miles on this thing before the spring. But it's winter time and not able to ride as much, since I don't like riding in the cold. I mean, right now it's not bad because I'm all bundled up with 2 jackets and pants. And also my new gloves, which I probably talked about in one of my previous videos after Christmas. So these gloves, it's got a little thing right here. These are made specifically for riding, so they're better at blocking the wind. Other cool thing is you can use them on your phone. Here you can see the logo. Maybe Google can pick that up. I don't know the name. But these were a Christmas gift, but they were running behind in the mail, so I didn't have much opportunity to try them out, but they're comfortable. The weather's kind of playing games this week. It's raining up at home. I wasn't planning on doing a video today or a ride. This is kind of a last minute change of plans. My mom had to come down here for something work related, so I came down here with her. I figured I'd go on a little bike ride while she does her thing. While it's raining up at home, I wanted to get out and move my body. And sure enough, it's about 45 degrees, about 9 o'clock. Looks like maybe some rain coming, so I'm gonna try to squeeze in as many miles as I can before the rain gets here. Yeah, I'm glad to be out riding. I'm gonna have some pretty nasty, wild winter weather this weekend. Probably not going to be as bad as what people thought to begin with, but we're talking about ice and maybe snow. I don't think we're going to get snow since it won't be cold enough, but there will probably be a bit of ice in some areas. And you know, with power outages and all those things to consider, kind of got to plan ahead a little bit, especially if anything you have in the fridge or the freezer. So fingers crossed we don't lose power, since we don't have a backup generator. So I pray that we'll get through this like nothing happened. I'm sure it'll be fine. I think the worst thing that will happen will be a power outage, but we shall see. So originally I had 2 bells on here. The stock black bell, it just sounded kind of dull. And then I had another silver bell next to it, ordered off Amazon. I tried to squeeze both bells on here, but I want my phone holder. And there's not, this bell takes up more room than what I had on here before. And it definitely sounds friendlier. You know those faster e-bikes that have those horns? They go beep, beep, beep. And they're like super loud. I've heard those before out riding. And then this, it's definitely more laid back. You'll find these on a lot of beach cruisers, and these bells actually, it's a rotary bell. They've been around a long time, very long time. I think since the 1930s. Yeah, this is old-fashioned. So if I take this down to Florida with this bell, then definitely sound more like a normal bike. And you know, there are electric beach cruisers too. And they do about 20 miles an hour, so they have pretty much the same specs when it comes to power and speed as this, which runs on a 48-volt system, 10.4 amp hour battery, 350-watt motor, top speed 20 miles an hour, get about 50 miles in range. It's got a throttle as well. Kind of like the throttle because you can ride it like a little motorcycle. But yeah, this thing's a lot of fun. I love it. But I will never ever not have a bike that is normal. I will still ride a normal bike because gotta get that exercise, you know? Yeah, so there's Callaway Gardens to the right. Looks like they took all their Christmas stuff. A lot of fun times there. I rode this trail earlier this month. to kick off the new year, actually, on New Year's Day. I was talking about Callaway a little bit in that video, so they can hear more about my experiences there in that video. But yeah, I went to all kinds of things there. Went to circuses in that little tent. It's also home to the Christmas village during the holidays. So they got all kinds of Christmas stuff in there, and even the gingerbread men, things like that. And then Santa in there. You know, your typical Christmas decorations. And then there's Robin Lake. And they do all kinds of cool stuff like wakeboarding, I think. It's a nice little artificial beach with white sand. And then a bunch of pavilions and sit-down areas. There's also the Butterfly Center and the Discovery Center. I've only been to those a few times when I was a kid. And they also have shows where they show off some birds of prey. I remember seeing those. And my biggest happening there was they have hot air balloon shows there on Labor Day weekend every year. So I shot some footage there a couple years ago. And, you know, the FAA had to get involved because hot air balloons are legally ultralight aircraft, or no, lighter than your aircraft. So I was essentially hired by Callaway under one of the photographers there. And all the communication beforehand didn't work out like it should have. So one of the FAA officers out there, he was like, "We're not flying drones out here." He shut us down. I mean it. I mean, he popped his badge. He shut us down. And thankfully, I'm Part 107, commercial licensed. I have my Part 107. So I had to show that to him. I also had to show my proof of insurance, which I just run on the phone. It's like $1 million in coverage for like an hour. So yeah, if your drone flying makes a penny, you need that Part 107. I've heard stories of people getting hefty fines for not having their license and using their drones to make money off of. So, not to alarm any of you guys out there or anything, but I'm just throwing out there that if you don't want to get in trouble and have to pay a buttload of money in fines, go get your Part 107. But for those of you who have a good aviation background, that'd be really helpful, because that exam does cover a significant amount of stuff that you would need to know as a pilot, like a private pilot. So you'll need to kind of study up on the weather and airspace, how high you can go, all that stuff. So if you're like within 400 feet of a skyscraper, you can fly 400 feet above the roof of that building. Doesn't matter how tall it is. So things like that. But I am very blessed to have passed that exam on the first try. I know a lot of people have to take it more than once, so I'm glad I passed it on the first try. And then I got my license in the mail a few weeks later. And that's where I started my business. Yeah, I thought it was gonna rain this morning, but looks like it shifted a little bit. I mean, I'm already a few miles in, so I'm hoping it doesn't rain on me. So this trail is 13 miles. Used to be a railroad. It actually ran from Columbus to Atlanta. So it's kind of gradual uphill, downhill. And it's long stretches, I mean long and smooth. Which is great for if you want to get a good workout in on your bike. It's very scenic as well, all the trees. It's definitely worth checking out, especially if you're an avid cyclist. This is even good for pro cyclists too. I've seen a few of them flying by. Really neat little trail. There's the mile 4 marker, so just over 4 miles in to my ride. Yeah, I am ready for the spring. I'm ready for it to warm up. Kind of ready for this cloudy weather to go away. I'm ready for it to be sunny and warm, but there is one trade-off to that, and that's going to be the pollen from them pine trees. Yep. Not going to be fun when it comes to allergies for some people. And cars aren't going to look pretty either, because they'll be sugar coated in pollen like crazy. But that's actually where the rain can come in handy to keep that under control. But it usually keeps coming and sticks around until like around April. So that's really the only thing I'm not really looking forward to, but I'm looking forward to it being warmer. We just got to get through the winter first. That's just how things work. I do have a lot of exciting stuff coming up actually between now and the spring. I'll talk more about that stuff after they happen in a future video. so I have more to share. So you can stay tuned for that. I want to show you up here. There's some pretty neat stuff. This zigzag takes you up to a trailhead as well as the country store. That's a zigzag because of how steep this is, so people don't have a hard time getting up or down. These are some very sharp turns, so I'm gonna have to go slow and wide. Missed that one. Yeah, on a single speed bike, that throttle really comes in handy. I'm gonna upgrade at some point to one where I can shift gears and maybe go faster, but this bike is doing its job. I love it. I'll upgrade at some point when everything lines up. I don't think I've shown this area in any of my videos, but this right here is the country store. So you have a little restaurant back there. I've went there a few times. And then it's your typical store with a few goodies, like candy and whatnot. So yeah, over here, check this out. This would actually be perfect for my thumbnail. Check this out. Ain't that a pretty view? Let's look at the hilly terrain up in the distance, and then all these trees down the hill in front. So pretty. So that goes towards Columbus and Hamilton. You got Franklin D. Roosevelt State Park up there. Could ride through there. I mean, I think bikes are allowed, but as busy as that road is, I don't know. So you can kind of like use this, look in distance, this little set of binoculars. But you have to pay 25 cents to use it in coins. A little chilly, but not too bad if you're bundled up. Alright. Actually, we are socials. Alright. Let's see if I can maybe go up in there real quick. I'll look down here and see. Only thing is the speed limits are 45. And I don't want cars zooming by. So maybe another time, or let's see. If no cars are coming, I can probably manage this. No drone zone. That's because of the state park. Not supposed to fly in state parks without getting approval beforehand. It's kind of protect some stuff around these parks. And not disturbing wildlife. Checking my 6, nobody behind me, we're looking good. I'll be pretty fast down that hill. I just want to see what's up here while it's a ghost town. Kind of having to help the motor up the hill a little bit. This road is not busy, so they can pass me if they need to. And there's another little overlook right there. I'll look at that in a minute. Oh wow. Whoa, it's chilly. Yeah, I'm good on time. There's a truck up there. I'm not sure if he's a sheriff or something. And I don't want to look like I'm doing anything wrong, so I'm gonna head back. So maybe I'll do that another time. He's not coming. I saw a black truck in there. I can definitely tell he's probably a game warden or law enforcement, so I'm not gonna bother him. I thought this was shorter, but it's actually a bit longer. Really see right here. Look at that. This would make for another good picture as well. I like photography. That's what I do with drones for my business. Kind of get that from my dad. He's a photographer as well, even though he doesn't do it for a living. Sometimes he'll sell some prints on like Fine Art America and whatnot. Alright, let's get out of here. No cars coming. See if I can maybe pick up some speed down this hill. Maybe I'll pedal. See if I can get it going here. There's 23. The motor's not going to do anything at this point. There's 25. 26. I just blew through a stop sign. Could have done the right thing and stopped, but nobody's out here. Who's gonna care? If I were in a car, yes, I'd be stopping. Alright, I'm gonna get back on the trail. It's kind of chilly. I may not go any further. I'm not sure what's up there, but it says private drive. So I respect the fact that it's private property. It's gravel anyway, and I don't want to beat up my tires too much. So. Probably nothing cool to see up there anyway. You know, on that road right there, you're definitely craving to go faster. Because it doesn't feel like you're going as fast if you're in a bigger, wider space. But on trails like this, it definitely feels like you're going faster. And you got some benches along the way as well. All right. If you want, I'll show you 0 to 20 on this thing. Throttle only. And let's do a full punch. And then I'll do a mix of that and pedaling from there. Here we go. Okay. All right. Here we go. Takes just under, takes about 7 or 8 seconds on flat ground. Yeah, I'm glad to get out and ride. If I had stayed home, I probably would have been stuck inside all day. So I decided to come down with my mom and let her do her thing while I ride. Weather wasn't looking great to begin with, but hey, this actually worked out. And I'm glad it did. Even though it's chilly. I would see if there are any other places around here to ride, but I think this is all there is up in this area. And it's kind of chilly for me to go down any further, so. If I don't find anything, at least this gets me out to move my body and to have fun. You know, this being a single speed bike, if you do 20, you're kind of pedaling fast. And if you go over 20, you're almost like ghost pedaling. That's where you can't pedal at a good pace as fast as the bike is going. So you would be spinning like crazy if the bike is going very fast. Used to pass under this bridge a lot when he lived in Columbus. And now it's a little different since we're coming from up north. gotta stop and relax for a minute before I continue. So there's Callaway Gardens right there. Tons of parking. It's actually already had the hot air balloons on Labor Day weekend. And I'll have some on the other side of the lake as well. Look at that thing hauling those logs. That thing weighs a ton. That's some serious heavy weight right there. It's that green dome right there. That's the tent I was talking about. They have all kinds of stuff going on in there. Went to some circuses there. And they have Christmas Village in November, December, during the holidays. Yeah, they took down all the Christmas stuff, and then safe fantasy lights right there. I think you've seen that in my video I did here. So now they're just waiting for the spring to get here, I guess. There's actually some snow here and in Columbus earlier this week on Sunday. But it quickly melted away. Squirrel, where you going, buddy? So I just took a little heat break. I'll show you around downtown a little bit. A couple of restaurants there, Pretty Little Pigs right there especially. That's a good barbecue. Mom and I are gonna go eat there on the way home. So I'm looking forward to that. Dino Village. Probably a kid's place, I don't know. Got little dinosaurs in there. Kind of like them, especially in Jurassic Park. T-Rex and the Velociraptor. All those dinosaurs. And even the Jurassic Park movies from 20 years ago, the CG computer graphics, pretty darn good for 20 years ago. Even in the 90s as well. All right. So I'll show you around here, the Iron Horse, Columbus to Rome Railroad. This way over to Pine Mountain. So Pine Mountain used to be Chipley. Changed its name to Pine Mountain in 1958. That's why some of these businesses are known as Chipley. A lot of small businesses around here. But most of these buildings are old construction, been around for many, many years. So there's the bike shop on the right, Chipley Cycle. They do e-bike rentals with Velotric, which I am thinking about getting a Velotric one day. Just when everything lines up on my side to make a $1,500 purchase. it's not cheap, so if I decide to buy one, I'm gonna be riding it a lot. But I've heard good things about that brand. Got a little antique store up ahead. Post office, water tower. The reason why it's a water tower is so that water flowing down with gravity actually allows water to come out of your faucets and all that. It builds up enough pressure to get the water to run throughout your home. You know, you get your typical small town charm here. Basic little grocery store. We got First Baptist Church on the left there. I don't know if there's a bell in there, but looks like there's enough room in there for one. Pretty chilly. Look at all those ducks in that Jeep. I mean, it's kind of weird. But that's just me. And it's just all part of Jeep culture, I know for a fact. Yeah, not much to see up here. There's a couple of abandoned looking buildings here. That's like missing half. That building back there. We'll see what's up here. Because it says continue right, I guess. I'll turn around after this truck. Probably not gonna be anything to see up here. This would actually be a pretty good spot for some drone flying. Zoom around the trees there. The FPV drone racing with the goggles. And pretty good for practice. Alright. So yeah, this is where the trail ends. And this was part of the railroad that continued north up to Atlanta. I don't see any rails or anything left. Yeah, repurposing old railroads for multi-use trails is kind of a popular idea. It's like there's the fall line trace of the railroad trails down in Columbus. It's about a 10-mile stretch that goes from North Columbus to downtown, which I already showed on my channel. And then there's a Silver Comet up in Atlanta, which I rode a couple times. That used to be a road as well. I only uploaded like a short or two. I'll probably do a video up there one day, but I mean, it's kind of got to deal with Atlanta traffic to get up there, and it's like an hour or so to get there. But maybe I'll have the opportunity to do a video up there one day. And it's a long stretch, similar to this in Columbus. It's definitely wider than this, I know for a fact. About as wide as the trail in Columbus. Alright, it looks like it's starting to rain. It's not gonna be enough to hurt the bike though. Not close to enough. These electric rideables have pretty good water resistance. I'm not a fan of riding in the rain, but you know, if it's hot and I'm riding my mountain bike, I wouldn't mind riding in the rain as long as there's not lightning. Because in the summer it actually helps to cool you off a little bit. So my thoughts of riding in the rain are kind of a hodgepodge, because it depends on what I'm riding and how warm it is and whether or not there's lightning. Alright, my mom should be done in a few, so I'm gonna head on back. Wrap things up here. I'll go ahead and get up this here. So yeah, this weekend we're watching a potential winter storm, and then next week it's going to be cold. We're talking about the 30s and the 40s in the highs, so it's going to be freezing. With that being said, it's probably going to be the way it is, at least for the next couple weeks or so. It may get into the 50s here and there, but not much. So with that being said, I'm not going to have a lot of windows to ride for quite a while. And that means it's going to be a little while before I post anything again on this channel. But I'll probably upload some shorts here and there from past rides. I just have to dig through my computer. So yeah. So yeah, with the potential winter storm we have this weekend, and in fact it's going to be freezing cold next couple of weeks. They're talking about highs in the 30s, 40s, and 50s here and there. So that being said, I'm not going to have a lot of windows to ride for quite a while. And that means it's going to be a little while before I post anything again on this channel, most likely. So, but I'll probably upload some shorts here and there just to stay active, I guess. I just have to dig through my computer. Any other shorts I have and whatnot. Yeah, I'm glad to get out and ride when I can, and you know, winter time is definitely not the most ideal for riding, but you know, times periodically when it is warm enough, especially if you have the right clothes. All right. So given the situation with the weather, it's probably gonna be a while before I post again and ride. You know, with the cooler temps next week, probably for the week after as well, not gonna have a lot of windows to ride, so I'm gonna use that time to focus on school and focus on work and all that. And I'll definitely start getting out and ride more when the weather warms up, so. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your winter and a good February. And if I don't ride any or post in between, and I will probably upload something in the spring when the weather warms up, so. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and thank you very much for watching. Y'all have a great one. Stay warm. Take care. See ya.